Ms. Joan Pereira.
Mr. Speaker, may I have your permission to answer questions 3 and 4 together?
Yes, please.
Thank you, sir. Property tax, PT, is our primary means of taxing wealth. PT payable is based on the applicable PT rate applied to the annual value, or AV, of the property, where AV is a proxy for the property value and thus the owner's wealth. In line with the wealth tax intent of PT, the PT on residential properties is taxed on a progressive schedule. Properties with AVs of up to $8,000 pay no PT, while properties with higher AVs pay PT at progressively higher rates of taxation. Owner-occupied residential properties enjoy concessionary PT rates and are taxed at rates lower than non-owner-occupied ones. Sir, over the years, the government has received feedback, including from members from both sides of this House, to enhance our wealth taxes. This is what we have been doing. As announced in Budget 2022, PT rates have been raised for higher-end owner-occupied residential properties with AVs above $30,000 in 2023 and 2024. The new rates affect less than 1 in 10 owner-occupied residential properties. The AV is a proxy of the value of a property and is determined based on the rental transactions for comparable properties with similar attributes such as location, age, and condition. A property that earns more rental income has greater value, and therefore the AV and the PT payable will be higher. The median PT for owner-occupied private residential properties in Singapore grew at a CAGR of around 7% from 2020 to 2023. The growth rate is similar for owner-occupied private residential properties within and outside the central region. I understand members' concerns that some retirees may face financial difficulties. The government remains committed to supporting retirees. We do so not by lowering PT rates for residential properties owned by retirees, but by supporting our seniors in other ways. We have various schemes to help retirees, whether living in private residential properties or HDB flats. For example, through the assurance package, seniors living in private properties can receive AP cash, AP MediSave, and the cost of living special payment.
Yvonne Wing.
I thank the SMS for its reply. How can the government better help a particular group of seniors, retired seniors who are private home residents, but are cash poor and would like to retire in the home that they have called home for decades?
Mr. Speaker, I mentioned some examples in my reply earlier. In addition to what I mentioned, we also provide certain assistance and certain help schemes that are applicable to all households, regardless of housing type. For example, the $300 CDC voucher that was given out in January this year, the household utilities credit that was given out last year, and for seniors who are Merdeka generation or Pioneer generation, they can also receive additional MediSave top-ups and healthcare subsidies when they visit the polyclinics, when they go see the GP, when they go to the hospital. Sir, I think the design of our tax and benefit system is based on the concept of it being fair and progressive. And by that, what we mean is that everybody will contribute, but those who are wealthier, earn higher income, will contribute more. And as I mentioned in my reply earlier, the property tax is a form of wealth tax on immovable assets. And if we look at the retirees who are staying in private properties, especially higher-end private properties with higher AVs, compared to retirees who are staying in, say, rental flats or smaller HDB flats. I think there is a difference in their wealth.
Ms. Joan Pereira.
Thanks, Speaker. SMS, I have one clarification. Can MOF share, does IRAS have a system to calibrate annual property values as a ratio of all owner and tenant-occupied properties to ensure that the annual values are not disproportionately skewed by a few high rental units? Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, the annual value is determined based on the rental transactions for comparable properties with similar attributes, such as location, age, and condition. The way that IRAS go about computing the annual value is that they would generally exclude very high and outlier rentals that the properties may fetch. And so I think this is a way to ensure that the data and the stats are not skewed by some of these outliers.
Ms. Lim Beltran.
Sir, may I ask the Minister of State whether we can relook the definition of wealth tax? Because for some of these retirees, they don't see themselves as wealthy. I know they've got a property that may be worth quite a bit, but they're retirees, no income. They just have the luck of buying a property at a lower price when they were much younger. So how do we want, as a matter of principle, to deal with this group of people who are living in a better property but no income? Is it the principle of the government that we would want to persuade them to sell their property so that they would not be considered wealthy? I mean, how do we define the term wealth? Because I can't see this group of retirees as being wealthy, except for the fact that they were fortunate enough to buy a property when they were younger.
So I think I explained this in my response to Mr. Yip Hong Wing earlier, and also in my main reply. Property is an asset, and I hope Mr. Lim agrees with me on that. And an asset is part of your wealth. So I think we do need to consider that a person's assets, net assets, is a proxy measurement of the person's wealth. Now, this doesn't mean, therefore, that we don't empathize with the situation that I'm sure Mr. Lim's residents face. I also have residents who are in a similar situation. So we do understand that they are retirees. They may not be able to earn a lot of income because they're not working. So the way to help them is not to have a lower property tax, because that is something that we need to put in place as part of our fair and progressive tax system, but to find other ways of helping them. So I mentioned some examples earlier in the assurance package, and also when we look at certain schemes that we design. In our polyclinics, for example, we don't means test based on your property type. But when you go to a polyclinic, we look at your age, and seniors do receive additional subsidies.